All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new video. In this video, we're going to go deeper into the subject of addiction. Addiction, ladies and gentlemen, is one of my specialties. It's something that I consider myself to be an expert in. Addiction recovery, because I've been addicted in the past to a handful of different things, such as alcohol. You know, I had my run-in with tobacco for many years. I smoked cannabis for many years. I abused prescription drugs from time to time. I've been into my own self-made hell, and I've climbed myself out of it, thank God. I want to help you see the common sense rationale in questioning your patterns if you currently have any negative addictions. We have to learn to question the things that we've been doing, ladies and gentlemen, because if we don't constantly put ourselves into a state of reflection and look at what we're doing, it can often lead to us making poor decisions that get us in trouble. Or unfortunately, some people end up dying. Some people end up, getting behind a wheel when they drink alcohol and they end up killing people. Addiction is a mess. It's an unnecessary mess. I pity, or I don't pity, I feel for the people, I feel for those who are currently struggling with addiction because I know what it's like, especially with alcohol. Alcohol, I used to have such a craving for booze that I craved the way it would feel on my throat when I drank it. I craved the process of walking to the liquor store to get my booze. It was like a ritual. Once you do something over and over and over enough times, you start to enjoy the pattern of doing it, depending on what it is. With substances, that make you feel good, with substances that you use to help cope with your life or with reality. Oftentimes you build kind of a habit around the ritual of doing it, or even like going to get your fix is part of the ritual, get you all amped up. I remember just like feeling super stoked when I'd get home from work, or if I had a day off, scavenging for money, and then I'd find enough money to get a pint of vodka, and I'd just like feel this surge move through my veins, like, oh my God, I get to feel that again one more time tonight. I was a severe alcoholic, and even when I had no money, I managed to find booze. Whether it meant stealing it from family members, whether it meant stealing my brother's homemade beer, because he likes to brew beer, he's quite good at it, and he brewed one time a batch of beer for one of my neighbors. And when I was an alcoholic, I snuck into the garage where he kept all his brewing equipment, and I drank the entire pony keg worth of beer in a very short amount of time. So, once you burn bridges with people like that, it can make, oftentimes what I'm getting at is that when you're an addict, you make decisions that not only affect you, but they affect other people. Your addictions and your patterns and your negative behavior when you're stumbling around or whatever it is that you're doing can oftentimes make relationships just kind of weak in comparison to what they could be, because it's like, okay, I love my brother, but I'm stealing shit for him. And on top of that, I was taking the beer that was made for my neighbor, which my neighbor paid for. So again, you guys, I can relate to people who are suffering with addiction because I've been an addict. I've been arrested for what I've done twice. One time I got arrested in front of my house in California and embarrassed not only myself, but my entire family. But I still didn't learn from that, and I continued to drink alcohol, and it took some serious near-death experiences that were induced from my alcoholism to snap me out of my goddamn hypnosis. Apparently I can't speak today. So one of the things that I want to help you do, this light makes me look like a ghost. One of the things that I want to do is come into your life at the right time and hopefully be able to say the right words in the right way with enough passion to inspire you to question what you're doing and question the patterns that you're holding on to. Sometimes I look back, ladies and gentlemen, at my days of alcoholism, and I wonder how the hell I'm still alive. I didn't really ever drink and drive, but I drank massive amounts of booze, enough to kill people, and my body, for about 2 years after I quit drinking, I just constantly was reflecting over the fact that I was still alive, it almost made me feel dead because I questioned myself so much. I questioned the fact that I was alive so much because I knew I had done so much damage to myself that I felt like I was walking between the living and the dead. It's a very hard thing to explain, but part of it is due to alcohol-induced psychosis, which is something that many people experience when they get off of alcohol, especially cold turkey, if they drank as much as I did. It's also known as alcohol. I wouldn't necessarily call it alcohol-induced psychosis. I would call it alcohol-induced derealization and depersonalization. And if you look up these terms, let me read the definition for you. I have my own way of describing it, but I want to read you the actual definition first. Derealization disorder. Depersonalization and derealization disorder is a type of dissociative disorder that consists of persistent or recurrent feelings of being detached, dissociated from one's body or mental processes, usually with a feeling of being an outside observer of one's life or being detached from one's, let's see, the definition cut off from one's surroundings. Derealization. The disorder is often triggered by severe stress. Diagnosis is based on symptoms after other possible causes are ruled out. Treatment consists of psychotherapy plus drug therapy for any comorbid depression and or anxiety. So I'm going to give you, that's from the Merck manual. I want to type in alcohol psychosis. Let's give you guys a definition. Is there a definition? Okay, well, we'll go to this alcohol.org. And it says here, many intoxicating substances can lead to psychosis, which is a mental condition characterized by disruptions to a person's thinking and perceptions of the world. Often psychosis is referred to as a break with reality because changes in perception lead to hallucinations, delusions, persistent thoughts, emotional changes, and drastic changes in behavior. This is really important right here, ladies and gentlemen. The person typically struggles to understand the difference between reality and hallucination. So for those of you who have seen my previous videos on alcoholism, for those of you who have seen all of them, you know that I went through delirium tremens and many different kind of insane is the only way of putting it, experiences when I was coming off of alcohol. And no, I didn't just fart. If you heard that, it's my squeaky chair. You can hear that. But the experiences that I went through getting sober really took me off kilter. It put me in a temporary state of delusion, psychosis, whatever you want to call it, where, you know, due to the trauma of getting off of alcohol, due to the drastic amounts of stress of going through a handful of near-death experiences in a very short amount of time, multiple NDEs, near-death experiences, I carried with me into my sober life some temporary psychosis. While I had, you know, it was like I was lost at sea. And, you know, I felt just so weird in general. I mean, I remember when I was going through the withdrawals, ladies and gentlemen, not being able to sleep for days, being afraid to sleep because I thought I was going to die. Heart rate beating through the, you know, just my heart rate was through the roof. Sweating, seeing things, hallucinating, having tactile hallucinations, auditory hallucinations, seeing spirits, seeing and hearing different negative entities, talking about what they were going to do with my soul when it reached hell, hearing carnival music. I mean, I went through some horrible experiences, seeing different geometric patterns flash before my eyes and gyrate and spin. I felt like I was on one of those, I don't know what they're called. There's like this thing when you, see if I can look it up. NASA has these training simulators where, I think it's called a gyrotron. No, I was way off. NASA spinning chair? If you go into Google and you type in NASA spinning chair, it'll come up. They put you in this thing and it spins you at different speeds and counter rotates. I felt like I was on one of those. The woman that I was with during the time thought I was going to die. I had a rash that moved over my body and kind of communicated with me. It was like I was being possessed by this purple rash. My skin was blue at one point. I didn't think I was going to get out of this. So when you're in a prolonged, what feels like a prolonged, death, and that's what I felt like it was. I felt like I was slowly, over multiple days, transitioning from the physical world into the afterlife. It can be very stressful to you. It can be kind of hard to recover from that, ladies and gentlemen. So for about a year after I stopped drinking, I had to focus on recovery, and I did the best that I could at the time. I could go on for hours and hours and hours talking about what I did to recover. One thing I did was I used water to my advantage. I took a lot of hot showers in very, very clean filtered water. And I did a lot of salt baths. I did magnesium therapy. I used small doses of multiminerals and multivitamins. I ate pretty much whatever. I would eat as much of health food as I wanted, but at times I would binge on junkier foods because they made me feel grounded. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this because if your liver is already in a compromised state, it's not necessarily the best thing to eat a bunch of junk food. But at the time, I felt so lost and I felt so ungrounded that it was almost to me worth risking a little bit of my physical health so that I could get more of my emotional stability back, because emotional instability can be so ungrounding and so detrimental to your health, especially if it's leading to a lack of sleep. Not being able to sleep, you need to focus on your sleep if you're recovering from alcoholism. Depending on how bad of an alcoholic you were, I mean, there's people, ladies and gentlemen, who, I've had people talk to me and, they tell me that they're an alcoholic. I don't know why this chair keeps making this noise. That should be better. I've had people come to me and complain about them being an alcoholic and they only drink like small amounts of booze, maybe like a beer a night. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, you're not necessarily an alcoholic at that point. If you feel like you are, if you feel like you need it to get by, then you're definitely on the way to becoming an alcoholic, especially if you actually give in to all of your urges. But I'm talking about depersonalization and derealization in regards to alcoholism after prolonged use of strong liquor, like drinking a half a gallon of vodka every night, drinking a fifth of vodka to 2/5 of vodka every night. Those types of things usually lead to much more drastic states of temporary psychosis and a feeling of being ungrounded once you quit drinking or you go through some near-death experiences like I did. Those are what led me to get sober. I hope what I just said made sense. I didn't sleep very well last night, ladies and gentlemen, but I want to make this video. Unfortunately, I can't go back and edit it and, fix any verbal errors that I've made. And I don't know why, but my computer says it's not charging right now. So bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. The screen will probably glitch a little bit. This goddamn computer used to work just fine, but now it's giving me some issues. Let's see. I've got to try to get the icon to say that it's charging, otherwise I'll lose this content. So anyways, you guys, while I try to fix my ridiculous computer issue that I keep seeming to have, I will continue talking about alcoholism. You may be wondering what I'm drinking right now. I'm drinking, come on, computer, stop giving me shit. Come on. There we go. That should fix it. I've got to have the computer, literally the thing when the battery's plugged into the computer, it has to be plugged in at a certain angle. And if the computer moves just slightly out of alignment, it stops losing its charge. This is some black tea with about 5 drops of the Omega Organics Vanilla Stevia. I quit drinking coffee recently, and I'm currently weaning myself off of caffeine. I've drastically reduced my caffeine intake by about 90%. So I'm just slowly weaning myself off of caffeine so that I can get better sleep, because the majority of my life I've been an insomniac, and now that my sleep schedule is fixed, I'm focusing on deep regenerative sleep to make up for lost time in my 20s. Let's see. This light makes me look, I don't know what's wrong with this light right now, but it is what it is, whatever. Focusing on sleep, ladies and gentlemen. I'm all about breaking addictions and continuing to, change my life for the better. And, okay, we're charging. Apologies for that, you guys. But breaking through your addictions, ladies and gentlemen, changing your patterns, changing your behavior is one of the greatest ways, if not the best way to growth. Because how can you actually grow if you're holding on to things and engaging in behaviors that are inhibiting your growth? It's counterproductive to cling to things that keep you from growing, that keep you from evolving. And if you're currently struggling in life and you feel like you've reached a plateau, I highly recommend sitting down and writing a list of your good qualities and your bad qualities. And don't be, you need to let it all out on paper. These are for your eyes only. You need to be brutally honest with yourself and observe all of not only the bad things that you do, but as well as the good things that you do. Only through acknowledgement of our issues can we create a solution out of the problem, because most of our worst qualities, and I'm not saying that you're a horrible person for having bad qualities. We all do. I mean, bad qualities in the sense of these qualities are destroying your life. Those are bad qualities. You need to observe those in silent introspection and observe in reflection. Once you acknowledge the issue, then you can go about finding a solution. Through the problem, we find the solution. Oftentimes, ladies and gentlemen, the solution to a problem is contained within the problem. You have to flip things. You have to change what you're doing in life so that you can change the outcome. Remember, in life, in pretty much anything in life, input equals output. You get out of something what you put into it. So if you're putting into your system toxins, if you're putting poison, alcohol, into your system, if you're drinking and driving and doing all this other nonsense, you are going to create an outcome that is not favorable to you. And you may think that you can get away with being an addict or a drug addict or an alcoholic for prolonged periods because maybe you've gone over a year, maybe you've even gone 5 years without experiencing any problems. You haven't gotten caught or in trouble with the law. But eventually that output, which is going to happen because that's how the laws of nature work. What you put into something, you eventually get back in one way or another. So you better be careful. And the greatest way to be careful is to stop engaging in goddamn behaviors that lead to nothing good. You don't want to get to like age 30, 40, 50, 60 and look back at your life and go, wow, I wasted 20 to 30 years of my life being a drunk, being an alcoholic, doing things like smoking. And once you get to that point, once you get to a certain age, I'm not saying that it's not beneficial to quit drinking or whatever it is you're doing, because it is. However, do you know what it's like to reach a older state in life, like 50 or 60, and look back and go, wow, I killed myself for 30 years with alcohol. I killed myself for 30 years with tobacco. You want to end your addictions early, ladies and gentlemen, so that you don't have to feel guilt, because wasting time, when you finally stop engaging in your toxic behavior, you now reflect on what you've done. And if you've done these horrible things for prolonged periods, well, it leads to states of guilt. And guilt is oftentimes a driver of addiction, because we use addictive substances often to compensate with the feeling of feeling empty from harboring guilt. I'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I had some sweet potatoes on the stove, but I'm back. So I want to talk about you getting sober. I want to talk about you seeing the value in being a sober individual. If saving your life is not something that's of value to you, then you may not want to heed my advice and listen to what I'm about to say, or, take what I've already said to heart. I care for you. I want to see you thrive. Most of you guys who are struggling with addiction, who find my videos, deep down inside, you want to quit. Hell, that's why you watch these videos. So you owe it to yourself to actually engage in quitting. You owe it to yourself to let go of this burden. You owe it to yourself to catch yourself before you get too far down this rabbit hole to the point where you can't climb out of it. So some of you guys have been drinking for so long that you probably are terrified of the withdrawals, the detox process, and I can sympathize. I've been there. You need to find a solution so that you can get out of this. You cannot keep drinking. You cannot keep engaging in drug abuse or cigarette smoking because you fear the withdrawals, because you fear the detox process. And that's why so many people, for instance, cigarettes. I used to always try to quit smoking cigarettes. And when that urge came after a few hours to have a cigarette, it would make all my skin crawl and I would feel agitated. And that always made me think, okay, I'll just have one more cigarette. It's okay. That is a toxic engagement. That type of thing needs to be absolved. You need to resolve that. So, obviously cigarettes are much more, they're more gentle to detox from. Quitting cigarettes isn't going to kill you. You'll get some headaches, some frustration, some brain fog, maybe some bad digestion for a prolonged period, but it'll eventually go away and your life will be back to normal. And you'll realize how stupid it was to think that you needed to suffocate yourself and take the life out of your lungs to deal with life, or, I'm bored, I need to smoke. That was my thing. I had to smoke all the time. I had to have a cigarette while I was driving. I always had to have a stupid cigarette in my mouth. How dumb. You want to talk about being brainwashed? You want to talk about being controlled by these secret societies and these companies? You smoke cigarettes, you are under control, ladies and gentlemen. All right, what the hell's going on here? Let's see if that's any better. If you smoke cigarettes, ladies and gentlemen, you are under hypnosis. I want to help you snap out of it. But I'm stressed, Brandon, I'm stressed. I need something for my stress. So you're going to tell me that because you're stressed, you have to further stress your body to deal with and compensate with that stress? That's like saying your back hurts and your remedy for making your back feel better is to smash your spine with a hammer. No, the remedy would be to go to a doctor to have maybe have an x-ray done, even though those are dangerous, or to go to an acupuncturist and have some acupuncture needles put into your back, open up those meridians, maybe go to a spa. Taking yourself away from the cause of stress is how you deal with stress. And that's not always how you do it, but oftentimes that's how you deal with stress. So I don't want to hear people say, I need my cigarettes because I'm stressed. There's people in the world with far more bigger problems than you. I'm not saying that you shouldn't acknowledge your problems in life, but there's people who can't even get a goddamn drop of clean water. But you're over there complaining because you can't not have your cigarette. I mean, come on. I've been there. I've been a little bitch before. I've been there. I know what it's like. But I wish someone like me came along and slapped me out of my hypnosis early on so that I didn't have to almost die to see the common sense rationale in quitting. So I want to come into your life at the right time and jar you out of your hypnosis. Stop being weak. Seek medical, professional attention immediately if you have a drinking problem or a drug problem. Because drugs and alcohol, I've said it once, I'll say it a million times, especially alcohol, can kill you through withdrawals. It's one of the most dangerous substances on the market that's legal. So you better be careful. I always have recommended that people go to the doctor. You don't just quit cold turkey. You seek advice from people who know how to detox properly. I am not a detox specialist. I'm here to try to help you start the domino effect, you putting the wheels in motion for you getting sober. And that involves going to a doctor, making an appointment. You can also, ladies and gentlemen, go like I'm going to do right now. You go to google.com, type in alcohol recovery hotline and call any of the multiple numbers on there. Most of them are toll free. Sounds like it's raining. You need to contact someone, especially like I've been contacted by people who have been drinking for over 15 years, like every night. You don't just quit cold turkey. You seek professional medical attention from a doctor or a specialist who specializes in these things. I specialize in helping people see the worth or the value in sobriety. but it's not up to me to tell you how to go about being sober. With cigarettes, hell, that's something that you can easily get. No, I wouldn't say it's, for many people it's difficult, but what I'm saying is that it's easy in the sense to get off cigarettes, that it's not going to like kill you. Cannabis addiction is not going to kill you if you quit smoking, but alcohol, methamphetamine, pharmaceutical drugs like benzodiazepines, these can be highly lethal. So go through the proper channels, seek professional medical attention, call your healthcare provider, call the hospital, do whatever it is that you need to do. Just make sure that you do that. Get over that. Just do it. This is how you have the balls, and I know you do, but do you have the balls and the strength to initiate your recovery? And, you know, for many of you guys, I wish I would have done it. You should get on a program with a professional medical attention, a professional medical specialist. Is that even a, excuse me. You want to contact someone like that so that they can help put you on a program, so that they can check you out, get looked at by a doctor. Then you can be put on a program where you can either like be weaned off alcohol over a prolonged period, or, you know, just talk to a doctor. They'll know what to do. But I hope that you'll take my advice. I'm trying to sound the alarm. I love making these videos because I love trying to inspire people to get sober. Because sobriety, ladies and gentlemen, and health are your platform in life. This is how you take off in life. This is how you become successful. This is how you make something out of yourself. Hell, in a world where 99% of the people have multiple addictions, if you're a sober individual, you by default have the upper hand. You can become a successful individual just by being sober. Because so many people see value in sobriety, because deep down inside, most people who are addicted want to be sober. They don't want to have to drink every day. Most of you guys, when you wake up after a night of drinking, you feel guilty. Feeling guilty is not beneficial to your emotional health. Drinking also, you guys, kind of on a side note here, drinking will destroy the quality of your sleep. You may think that, and you know, I used to do this too. I used to drink myself to sleep when I was younger, because my anxiety and my, not depression, but my insomnia was so strong that I would drink myself to sleep and wake up thinking, okay, I actually got some sleep last night. It wasn't until years later that I realized through studies and stuff that they've done that when you drink and when you sleep, when you're drunk, you don't really get regenerative sleep. You constantly like wake up and you don't really enter into REM 3 and 4, rapid eye movement, the deepest stages of sleep. The sleep is highly interrupted. On top of that, you're entering into the dream realm in an inebriated state, not smart. So I used to wake up all the time going, why don't I fucking feel, excuse my language, why don't I feel good? Fell asleep at 7 last night because I was drunk. I was so just out of my mind that I actually thought that I was supposed to wake up feeling good because I got sleep. It's like, wait a second, I slept, but I was drunk. If you can't drive a vehicle worth a damn while you're drinking, what makes you think that you can restore yourself, that your body can regenerate itself while it's drunk? Think about that. A substance that inebriates you so much that you can't even operate machinery properly. What is that doing to your insides when it's being digested by your system? Because the external, ladies and gentlemen, the external inebriation and distortion of reality is just an outside reflection of the toxicity and damage that you're doing on the insides. Think about that for a minute. The distortion of reality that you're transcribing through your eyes while you're looking at trees and you're like, everything's moving and you can barely stand up because you're so drunk. Everything's just like kind of gyrating. You can't even operate machinery. You can't write a sentence worth a damn. You can't speak without slurring your words. These are just physical outside manifestations of the toxicity on the inside, which is causing this deep of inebriation. I hope that makes sense. So if something that you put into your system creates a distortion of reality that's that strong, it means that you're toxifying your body, and that toxification is what's providing or creating that distortion of reality. Again, that was kind of a mouthful, but I think you catch my drift. Substances like this should not be consumed. And if you are going to consume them, you should make sure that you can do so responsibly. And there's people out there, like my mother can have wine responsibly. My wife can have wine responsibly. My brother can have wine responsibly. But there's some of us, including myself, who abstinence is the key. So many people have reached out and left comments on my alcoholism videos, and I appreciate all of you guys' comments and feedback. But some of you guys from time to time will say, it's all about moderation, bro. Life is all about moderation. I hate to tell you, but that's not the case. Life is not always about moderation because every person is different. And for some of us, abstinence is the path to real health. Trying to juggle, I can only have this much booze tomorrow, and then I'll have to wait 2 more days, and then I can have this much more booze tomorrow. I'd rather not try to walk on a tightrope. I don't like alcohol enough to try to micromanage it and say, I'll just have a little here and there. I don't do well with that kind of garbage. Alcohol is responsible for millions of deaths. It does so much more destruction than good that I don't even want to try to, moderate my intake. I just rather just push it away like the vampire that it is. I'd rather have like a chlorella tonic. I'd rather drink some algae. I'd rather drink some, some camu. I'd rather have a tall glass of hibiscus with a few drops of Omica Organics vanilla stevia. It tastes like fruit punch. I would rather eat a sweet potato. I would rather go on a hike. I would rather take some turmeric. I would rather drink some cistus and canis, some rock rose tea. I don't need booze. Excuse me. I know not everyone's the same, and I know some of you guys like social drinking. I know that some of you guys can probably handle your alcohol, and for you guys, my hat goes off to you. That's great. But for some of us, we don't have to like alcohol just because you think that moderation is key. For some things, moderation is absolutely key, like moderating the amount of calories that you consume. Anyways, you guys, I'm getting off on a tangent. I want to stay on focus here. Sobriety. This is the foundation. This is your platform. This is the sobriety, ladies and gentlemen, is like being, when you're drunk, you're lost at sea, but you're on a sailboat. But you don't know how to get the goddamn sail up because you're so drunk. You're so intoxicated. Once you get away from the substances, metaphorically speaking, you can now figure out how to get the sail up. Once the sail's up, the sail, you can steer it and catch wind and move forward in life and steer the boat according to your will. Because right now, if you're in a highly intoxicated state, you make bad decisions. You are not operating from your normal rational senses, and because of that, you're not steering your boat properly, and you can hit rocks, you can hit glaciers, sharks might come up and eat you while you're trying to navigate through the waters, you name it. There's a lot more risks involved in life when you go through it in an intoxicated state. So I'm all about lifespan prolongation. I'm all about heightening the senses and stimulating the psychic centers of my mind. I'm all about real, true health, ladies and gentlemen. And to do those kinds of things with trying to juggle multiple different addictions, it can be very difficult. Trying to live past 100 or trying to reach incredibly profound states of health and vigor and strength while you're smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, smoking pot and taking benzos, that can be a pretty, it's restrictive. So I'd love to hear from you guys. If you've made it this far in this video, thank you for watching. Are you currently struggling with addiction? What would you like to hear me talk about? Would you like to hear me talk more about alcoholism or tobacco? Would you guys like to hear me talk more about my struggles with alcoholism and my crazy experiences and the things I went through when I was drinking? What would you like to hear me talk about? I'd also like to say that really quickly, I want to plug my Patreon page. If you guys are interested in hours and hours and hours of bonus video material that you will not find here on the YouTube channel, please consider heading over to my Patreon page. Links are in the description box below, and there you can become a member. The money for the subscription funds my projects in life, funds my operation. It helps support my channel, helps keep the lights on. And you guys can access hours of bonus video material. You can have access to me through private messenger, and you can gain access to a community of like-minded patrons on the forum. There's also donation options below you guys in the information box. All donations of all sizes are highly, highly appreciated. Again, it helps fund my operation, helps keep the lights on, helps put food in my belly. So I appreciate all the donations, you guys, but regardless of whether you want to donate or not, does not matter. I just want you to get something out of my videos. I want you to hear the truth in my voice. I want you to put down your guard for a minute and let me into your heart so that I can help try to just align a few things that may be out of alignment so that you can see the absolute value in you becoming the best version of yourself, becoming sober. It's beautiful. And you know, I'm so sick of hearing people say, oh, but sobriety's boring, bro. What are you, a square? What are you, a square? That's a square, excuse me. It's not a square. You know what I mean? No, I'm not a square. I just happen to, you know, who are you to tell me that I'm a square because I don't drink or because I'm sober? What are you? Because you're not sober. You're probably struggling in life. So what's the point of struggling? Why would you? It's just weird to me that people think that people who don't drink or don't do drugs are squares. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about altering consciousness naturally. I can reach heightened states of consciousness without the use of drugs, without the use of alcohol, without the use of tobacco that far supersede the unhealthy states of consciousness that are provided for you by your deadly substances that choke the life out of you. And by doing so, give you a little temporary high. Oftentimes the high that you receive, ladies and gentlemen, while you're on drugs or alcohol is a byproduct of your body being poisoned. It feels good. It's a con on it's a con to your entire physiology. You're killing yourself, but it feels kind of good. Again, through Kundalini Christ consciousness, through Gnosis, certain forms of meditational breathing, through certain forms of abstinence from food and whatnot, ladies and gentlemen, you can heighten your consciousness naturally and feel great, feel better than you ever would with drugs and alcohol. So if you can't reach peace without substances, what does that say about the strength of your mind? It means that you have a fragile mind because you have to lean on substances. You can't generate your own self-worth or your own positivity. You have to lean on booze and alcohol. And I'm not judging because I've been there. I've lacked that self-confidence. I've lacked that, the drive that I have now. You need to get your drive back. You need to get your mojo back, ladies and gentlemen. And you do that through questioning the things in your life that are unhealthy and changing them. And it's not just alcohol. It's not just tobacco. It's not just, whatever the hell. It's, your sleep schedules. It's how much caffeine do you drink? Are you using deodorant that's killing you with all the aluminum? This is the deodorant that I use, ladies and gentlemen. I've been using this for years. This is, let's see if I can get my camera to focus. This is the Alvira. Focus, bitch. Alvira. It's not going to focus, goddammit. There we go. This is the Alvira Aloe and Almonds Roll-On Deodorant All Natural. Love this stuff. They also have an aloe herbal and they also have an unscented, but I like this one the best. I have this in my Amazon store. Links in the description box below. I love this. It smells so good. So compared to most deodorants on the market, this stuff is a godsend. It has 75% aloe vera gel, herb water containing arnica, calendula, gentian root, and coriander. Auxloxa containing allantoin, glycerol stearate, gum arabic, whole oat protein, witch hazel, grapefruit, seed extract, comfrey tea, and fragrance. So in comparison, and I'm not saying that this doesn't have a couple of questionable ingredients because the glycerol stearate, I haven't really looked much in regards to glycerol stearate, but if you look on the back of this label on this deodorant and then look on the back of a deodorant from your supermarket, it's amazing what's in typical deodorant. Let's look up deodorant ingredients. It's insane. You can't even pronounce half of them. Parabens, triclosans, propylene glycol, DEA and TEA, artificial colors, aluminum compounds, ladies and gentlemen. Aluminum is the ingredient in antiperspirants that clogs your pore and prevents sweating, according to this don'tmesswithmama.com link right here. Aluminum leads to significant increases in the potential for you to experience Alzheimer's. Aluminum is being sprayed in the aerosols, the chemtrail aerosols, which I talk about often. If you're interested in hearing more about that, pick up this book, Chemtrails, HAARP, and the Full Spectrum Dominance of Planet Earth. There's aluminum in practically everything. People are cooking in aluminum pans. People are putting aluminum on their underneath their arms, and that goes into your bloodstream. We're breathing in aluminum. There's aluminum metals in the water, you name it. So, this is just one upgrade. I'm trying to inspire you to question everything that you're doing so that you can upgrade the things that you're doing so that you can potentially increase your longevity. You can increase your health. Just changing to a healthier deodorant can be such a huge upgrade over the period of a year. Think about how much aluminum you've probably put underneath your armpits and absorbed into your system. Aluminum goes to your brain, disassociates proper cognitive functioning and rational thinking, makes you forgetful, can lead to states of profound malaise and lethargy. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. This is $5. And this smells good, unlike a lot of these more natural deodorants that smell like garbage. But again, that's the Aloe and Almonds by Alvira. Now, all natural roll-on deodorant, 3 fluid ounces. These don't leak. They've got their roll-on ball style. You take your shirt off, you put it on, you let it dry, and boom, you're going to smell good for a good day and a half. A lot of you healthy people out here who, talk about how pure you are and whatnot, you smell bad. A lot of these hippie people smell bad. You don't bathe enough. Bathing is something that's very spiritual and very essential for your emotional well-being, for your mental well-being, staying clean, ladies and gentlemen. It's essential. So I don't really care what people think, and may think I sound crazy for saying that bathing is spiritual. Bathing is mentioned in pretty much all religious books and volumes of antiquity. It's important to stay clean inside and out. We stay clean on the inside by not putting poisons in which destroy our innards. We put things into our system that uplift our health, not destroy it. That's how you stay clean on the inside. And on the outside, you bathe properly. You make sure that you get yourself a nice water filter or a shower filter so that you're not bathing in all the chlorine and chlorine gases and all the other garbage, chloramines, pipe residues, scaling lime, inorganic compounds, hexafluorosilicic acid, hydrofluorosilicic acid. Or hot showers nowadays, ladies and gentlemen, here in the Matrix are Illuminati New World Order gas chambers. You don't believe me? Do you have any clue the toxic effects of breathing in all the chemicals in tap water through vapor, through steam? Before you judge me, judge yourself and your lack of intelligence regarding the subject if you're going to judge me. Why you got to instill fear? I'm not instilling fear. I'm telling you the truth. Wouldn't you rather know the truth? I know I would. Nowadays, we live in such a sensitive world where if you speak the truth, people get offended by it because they'd rather wait in line for an inconvenient lie. Or they'd rather wait in line for a convenient lie than an inconvenient truth. Again, people would rather hear people would rather hear a convenient lie than hear an inconvenient truth. Because our false beliefs in the mechanisms that we've set up through our ego to deal with reality keep us feeling comforted. It's easier to stay sane in a crazy world when you have a belief system that makes you feel better, even though it's not true. We need to toughen up, ladies and gentlemen. For those who are interested in my coffee detox or my caffeine detox, I'm putting that together currently. I should have the video up in about a month. I'm going to show you how to get off of drinking coffee with a particular supplement and some specific teas like yerba mate and black tea. It's a lot easier than most people think it is. So on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to keep making these videos on addiction. I just wanted to talk about how important it is that you take control of your health, take control of your life, question what you've been clinging to, make a list of your positive and beneficial traits, and then look at the things that you've done that are positive. Allow your acknowledgement of the positive things you've done in life to uplift you and make you feel better. But use the acknowledgement and the reflection on your negative traits as fuel to transform those things into better things, because you don't necessarily have to just completely detach from your life right now. All you have to do is upgrade the things. You don't have to become a completely different person. You just have to tweak what you're currently doing so that by tweaking those things, the output that is contingent upon the input can be altered. So right now you're doing one thing that leads to something that's not favorable, when all you have to do is change that one thing so that the outcome is equal to the input. Input equals output. But right now there's like a scattering effect. Balance of the mind is essential here, ladies and gentlemen. You can do it. Nourish yourself emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. Eat healthy foods. Watch my videos on addiction. I've got hours of free footage here on this YouTube channel about addiction. I talk about how to get sober, foods to eat. I talked in previous videos about what I did when I was going through withdrawals with the shower therapy, and I did so many different things. But I am now sober. I've been sober for a very long time, and I want to help you get there. I know you can. I know you want to. I believe in you. You can kick some serious demon ass by changing your patterns. You can become a truth paladin. You can become a knight. You can become a soldier of the truth by getting rid of the addictions that are killing millions and millions of people every day. When you let go of those disgusting toxins that are killing you, you now can take a breath of fresh air and you feel completely uplifted, ladies and gentlemen. And once you feel the bliss of sobriety and the peace of abstinence, and once you fall into that bracket of just being calm without substances, you will hold the sword of truth and you will want to cut into the demon that is spreading this shit all across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, substances that kill young children, substances that are responsible for so much misery, are demonic byproducts. I want to help you sharpen your sword. I want to help you regain the power of your mind so that you can stop giving in to these lesser urges that are destroying every avenue of your health and leaving you with nothing in return. You can get high on your own supply. Your body is a walking pharmacy, ladies and gentlemen, of biological, natural hormones, chemicals, endorphins, you name it. Your body, once you get sober for long enough, if you do the breathing exercises, if you eat healthy, if you exercise, you get your endorphins up, you can feel great naturally, to the point where you look back and you go, why did I even need those substances? You don't need them. But the sword of truth, ladies and gentlemen, is a metaphor for you regaining your peace of mind. It's much more than that, but I've been rambling so long I can't think properly. Excuse me. I've talked about it in previous videos. The sword in alchemical circles, in occult circles, in ceremonial magic, represents the ability to take a thought and turn it into a reality. The sword represents clarity of thought. It's the Ace of Swords in the tarot deck. Represents the element of air. Thought. You can take the sword and change your life. Power of your mind. You can also use the other elements like the wand, which is in the quarter of the south, which represents fire. The chalice represents the emotions and water, or the shield, which represents the north and the east, or the north and earth. You can use the elements to reclaim the power of your mind through ceremonial magic. If that's something that you'd like to hear me talk about, let me know. You can use things like pentagram rituals and various different visualization techniques to create a shield around you and within you so that you can really take the power of your mind. I haven't really talked much about that stuff on the YouTube channel. I talk about that extensively on the Patreon page, but if you'd like to hear me talk about that, please let me know. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this videos. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Apparently I can't speak today. And please leave comments. Ask me questions if you have questions. Don't hesitate to reach out. I'll get back to you one way or another. And please watch all my videos on sobriety. If you enjoy these, or if this is the first one you've watched and you've derived benefit from it, go back and watch my other videos as well, because they go into the subjects even deeper. Peace be with you all.